December 7th, 1941. The USS West Virginia is burning in Pearl Harbor. A 22-year-old kid from Waco, Texas is below deck collecting laundry. Why? Because the United States Navy has decided the color of his skin means that he can only cook, shine shoes, and carry towels. Nothing else. And then the torpedoes hit. So Doris Miller carries wounded sailors through the fire. He carries his dying captain. And then he mans the .50 caliber machine gun, a weapon it was against Navy policy for him to even touch, a weapon no one ever trained him on. And he started firing at Japanese planes. He became the first black sailor in American history awarded the Navy Cross. Just 2 years later, his ship went down and he went with it. He was 24 years old. Doris Miller is an American hero, and his actions are certainly worthy of remembrance. And yet, Doris Miller is the man whose name that the United States Navy is quietly working to sand off of an aircraft carrier, per 3 sources, all talking to CNN. Why would they remove his name? So that they could weld on the name of a guy whose entire war experience starts and ends with sore feet. So the future USS Doris Miller, hull number CVN 81, under construction right now. And also right now, the Navy is having internal conversations about renaming it for Donald Trump, a sitting president. That has never happened with a carrier in the history of this country, because even the giant egos of the past understood that you let history hang the plaque that your legacy hopefully earned. And it has gone so far that the Navy has effectively stopped saying his name. They've stopped saying it's the USS Doris Miller. And now internally the ship is just called CVN 81. This, of course, is the same ship that Donald Trump issued an executive order about, the one making them rip out the catapults at a cost of billions. That order referred to the ship as CVN 81. So no, they're not renaming it yet. They're just not saying it. The erasure is saying it for them. Now, the part that makes my eye twitch. Who named this carrier after Doris Miller in the first place? Donald Trump's Navy, his own administration. Back January of 2020, Martin Luther King Day at Pearl Harbor, on the recommendation of a group of retired black admirals. His acting Navy secretary said these names are meant to be symbolic and unifying. So this isn't some Biden legacy project, not some DEI plan from the woke left. Donald Trump is erasing the single most decent thing his administration ever did, because 6 years later, somebody showed him a boat with someone else's name on it and he got jealous. That's it. That's the whole story. It's just like everything else. Donald Trump has essentially turned an aircraft carrier into a $79 billion birthday cake with the wrong name written in the frosting. Congressman Jason Crow, an Army Ranger, went on CNN and said, quote, "Doris Miller, this is a man." Donald Trump is a 5-time draft dodger. He's called veteran suckers and losers. He refused to go to an American military cemetery in Europe because it was raining.
Well, who could possibly be surprised that Donald Trump thinks that he's more befitting an honor like this than a World War II and American war hero, Doris Miller? This is a man, Donald Trump, is a 5-time draft dodger. He's called veterans suckers and losers. He refused to go to an American military cemetery in Europe because it was raining. You know, the through line to all of this is that Donald Trump is a man that can't comprehend the very notion that somebody could put service above self, that they could be a part of something bigger than themselves and sacrifice to something bigger. In his mind, that means that you're a chump, right? Why would you possibly do that if there's not something in it for you? So I really hope this is not true. My hopes are repeatedly dashed under the Trump administration, so it probably is, and we'll fight it like we do many of the other egregious things they do.
I mean, that sums it all up right there, because Cadet Bone Spurs versus the sharecropper's son who wasn't allowed to hold a gun and yet used a gun to save lives anyway, it's an easy fight. Put that on the hull. And for you guys in the comments, this Navy has found billions of dollars to tear the catapults out of this ship because one man likes the word steam better, but they can't find room on the stern for the name of the man who earned it. We know what CVN 81 should be called, but who else deserves their name on a carrier? Tell me in the comments. And if Donald Trump insists on his name being on a boat, what would that boat look like? Just tell me. Now, to save face, you know that the Navy is going to scramble to make this seem better. They'll name some other smaller ship after Miller, and they're recommending him for the Medal of Honor, which sounds lovely until you learn two things. One, final approval for the Medal of Honor runs through Congress and the president. So the deal on the table is we take the carrier, and Donald Trump would get to make the ceremony honoring Miller all about himself. And two, Miller's family found out about all of this from CNN. No one called them. His great-nephew has been fighting for that Medal of Honor for years, and he had to learn from a news alert that the fight over that Medal of Honor is now a bargaining chip. And folks, you know the deal because we've covered every bit of it. Donald Trump signs rocks. He's ordered a racetrack around the Capitol so that he could leave his imprint. Tennessee just bolted his name to an interstate bridge. The acting Navy Secretary is literally rewriting the ship naming rules to make presidents eligible. This man is trying to get his name on every flat surface in the Western Hemisphere before he checks out. But to me, this one hits a little different because this time to write his name, he has to erase a black war hero's name first. And this is happening in an administration that has been scrubbing black veterans off Pentagon websites for years. It's not a coincidence. It's just MAGA. And that's why I'm asking, if you can, please become a Ring of Fire member, because stories like Doris Miller's stay loud when this channel stays independent. And please do me a favor, ring that notification bell, because when they make this renaming official, corporate media will act like it's normal. And I can promise you, I won't.